Hi everyone, my name's Cody Dill and I'm the author of Stay Up, Racism, Resistance, and Reclaiming Black Freedom. Before I begin, I just wanted to shout out the artist responsible for some of the collage art in this book and on the cover, Stilo Star, who's done an incredible job in compiling imagery that is absolutely heart-stopping and that really captures the spirit and the essence of the writing I put into this book. This book, I'm excited to share it with young people because this is the book that I wish I would have had when I was a young person growing up as a black biracial kid on the Canadian prairies. This book is full of anti-racism theory, for one thing, that is hopefully phrased in an accessible way and in a way that really invites readers in just to be exposed to potentially a new way of knowing and of seeing the world and themselves in it. And the anti-racism theory that I use in this book is intersectional. And so it contains, references and connections to other forms of oppression such as sexism, homophobia, transphobia, ableism, classism, and other forms of oppression that will hopefully be entry points for readers of all identities, but also will help to illustrate really those connections and parallels between racism and other forms of oppression or isms within our society. It's also based on the Canadian context, and so far, a lot of anti-racism books that have been out on the marketplace, I feel, are coming out of the US, which is not a bad thing necessarily, but oftentimes it doesn't include Canadian-specific references, and especially in terms of how we've come to understand issues like decolonization and truth and reconciliation, for example, which I've tried to honor in this book as best I can. The book is also based on my personal narratives, so it's full of these sort of mini memoirs of experiences that I had growing up as a biracial black kid on the prairies. These are used, hopefully, to help distill down some of the lofty anti-racism concepts into really tangible, experiential examples so that young people have a chance to really grab onto some of the concepts that I'm talking about and hopefully be able to relate in some ways. So when I was becoming an English teacher, which is my other job outside of writing, a mentor once told me that the reason we read and the reason we study English is to try and understand what it means to be human. And I really, really, truly believe that. And I tell my students to this day, that's sort of why we study English. That's why we read books and stories and poetry, is to try to understand what it means to be human, because there's no guidebook for that. Right? So we have to look to all these other books and stories that people have written in order to help us understand. Well, there's something unique and quite different about being human and black. And for me, I really think that reading books by black authors and about black issues has been super helpful for me to understand what it means to be human and black as well. And so I hope that this book will help contribute to that same outcome for lots of young black kids out there, but also kids and adults of all identities. Because the thing about sharing black experiences and black perspectives is that truly everyone can learn from them. If we're not black, we can learn empathy, for example, and a better understanding of people who live in our communities and who we share space with. So this book was really, really important to me, really cathartic for me. It also examines issues of mental health and healing, which I've been through and which I hope to use to be able to inspire, again, the young readers out there who may be able to relate, to find that healing within themselves and for us all to work together toward a better society. So please pick this book up, share it. I hope you love it.
Inusaku. Good afternoon. My name is James E. Fournier, and I am the author of The Other Ones. So, The Other Ones came out in 2022 with Inhabit Media and was illustrated by the brilliant Toma Feizogas. We were very lucky to be able to have him create all these haunting works of art to be able to accompany the two horror shorts that are within there. So, what I always loved about Inuit storytelling is that it always has a degree of darkness and danger. And so, what I wanted to do is be able to take some of these kind of ancient spiritual beings and be able to cast them in a more contemporary setting and then see what would happen. So there's two short stories in here. The first one is called The Net, and The Net is about a daughter and a mother, and they're going back to their family cabin to do some ice fishing. And as they do so, they realize their net, something has happened to the net, has been torn, and so they have to mend it. And as they're mending it, they end up having to work with string. And wherever you have people and string, we're going to be creating string games, is what we do. However, it's getting late at night, and the mother tells the daughter, like, hey, you shouldn't be doing those at nighttime. At nighttime, that's when everything is asleep. You risk waking them up, the other ones, the ones who are inhuman, the ones who are unalive. And of course, one thing leads to another, and something gets woken up and has its terrible ancient reckoning on the sleepy little cabin of the mother and the daughter. So you can pick that up and find out what happens to them, and then into this spiritual battle they get into. The second story is called Before Dawn, and the Before Dawn is an Irak story. And Irak is another spiritual being that kind of specializes in hide and seek. So these two boys, they decide they want to go out and play on the land. However, their mother tells them, don't go too far, stay where I can see you, stay safe. And of course, that just does not happen. And so as they're out there, they end up encountering an Iraq, and chaos ensues. So those are the two short stories. Inhabit Media published it. Toma Fazogas illustrated. Grab a copy and let me know what you think. Thank you very much. Kapia Sugi. Stay scared.